All right. Cool beans.
Cool beans.
Okay. All right. So joining us tonight, we have OG Weasel and we have Tracey Burnett. So just so you know, I'm Sean Rucker. I'm the owner of SportBike Chic. And what we're doing right now is actually having a preview, so to speak, of all our panelists that we're going to be interviewing and for our upcoming B.U.D S event. So I'm going to turn this over to Tracey for a little bit so she can tell us about B.U.D S and how it got started very quickly. And then I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about SportBike Chic and we'll get right on in it, okay?
Absolutely, Sean, because we don't want to steal the guest speaker tonight, thunder, so take away his time. Absolutely. So everybody, B.U.D S Foundation is Bikers United to Defend Driving Safely. It is a nonprofit that assists riders and their families and advocating and educated for awareness and safety since 2011. Yes, we've been around for that period of time, and we strive to be a helping hand, be compassionate supporter for the community, and we're serious on every aspect of the safety and taking care of our community and the riders and their loved ones. Thanks, Sean. Back to you.
Excellent, thank you. And just so you know, so SportBike Chic, we believe in safety for women or safety for riders. Obviously, that's why we have a really great relationship with B.U.D S. And again, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. What I really do want to do is actually get into our guest tonight. Yes. So this is OG Weasel. So, you know, OG, I'm going to just tell you that, you know, whenever I talk to a prospect or anything else, the first thing I ask is always, what do you bring to the table, right? So for this panelist or this panel that's coming up, what do you bring to this table? What's your background?
My background, it's simple. It's a humble one. I've been on the, I've been riding about 35 years, and I think residing on a set about 30 of those 35. So, you know, I mean, being a brother that's been raised up in a lifestyle and really being exposed to bikes from dirt bikes to, you know, being around some other side of the bike style that we won't talk about, but just in general, I mean, I've really been, when they say raised up in the life, that probably sums it up. And when you come up like that and you're surrounded by bikes and you're a kid and you're seeing this stuff, it kind of becomes part of your makeup, you know, as you grow up. And it's kind of like your desire to grow into that deeper and deeper, and then just kind of seek that passion that you saw in others over the years. That's kind of who I am. I'm just a person who's been chasing a fascination that I've noticed that I had about bikes since I was a kid. So.
Excellent. I completely understand. So my first question for you, this whole title OG, what is it? Where does it come from? Tell me about it.
I mean, it's just, you know, biking, we got a lot of terms on the urban side and then the traditional side of things. So OG itself, you know, I think the prefix is kind of, I'm going to relate it to everything I'm going to say tonight is going to relate to the set. So it's going to be a kind of some urban talk and a little bit of regular bike talk here. But I mean, we talk about, you know, the term OG is kind of a term of endearment. And I think that the prefix comes, you know, from our peers. And that's when they begin to see a certain elevation in you as a person, whatever you're doing. It could be biking or whatever it is. So we could just say that the term OG is a term of endearment. And also it's kind of designated for those people who have really been living the life, you know, and ones that have elevated themselves. You know, if you're really into this, what you'll realize is that everyone's always seeking like that next level. You hear this reference that, you know, I'm a prospect for life and, you know, I'm always learning and, you know, so it seems to be like there's a growth. And as you kind of go through those motions in the years, and you define yourself and you get the respect of your peers and then you separate yourself because you're doing things that people are still learning. They kind of look up to you in that aspect, you know, and the one thing about that term OG, if people equate it with age, it is not necessarily an age thing because you got some old cats that, yes, you got to give them that respect. They've been in the set forever. But then again, nowadays, see, things have changed. Over the years, if you've been on the set, you'll notice there's been a lot of things evolving. And I guess that OG reference is kind of, you've seen a younger brother come up. And these brothers that we are seeing coming up are the ones that have been on the set, that's been moving around, that's been living the lifestyle, that's been doing what you're supposed to do as bikers, you know? So, and over time, what happens, your peers are like, you know what? Like this dude here has something that I don't. So they kind of looking to you for, you know, in a certain type of way. So I mean, things like that happen over time. It's a respect thing. So it's kind of saying, you know what, I've elevated myself, and you've kind of get that term of endearment after a period of time, I think. And it's like the utmost respect to get that from your peers, to have that reference and, you know, realize that it comes with responsibility. I mean, if you out there acting a fool, and there's always someone watching you. You know, when you become, I guess that's when you get to a certain point in what we do as bikers, you know, people will watch you, and especially when you get that reference as OG, people are kind of like, you know what, like, what is he doing? And it means something. And what we do, it means something to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Absolutely. SB, can I interject there on something?
Absolutely.
I think it was 2016. We was in Rocky Mount. We had just left one of the clubhouses there, and I want to say, oh my goodness, what clubhouse was it? Because you got there late. Weasel.
I think that was
Street Soldiers.
Street Soldiers.
Wow,
Yeah.
definitely love those guys. So anytime Whoops or Rocky Mount, they will always sort of help lead our charity rides. Definitely miss their support this year. But just that particular event, he's talking about the OG and the educational piece, you know, and I guess he does that so much. But we got back to the hotel that night. We was down in the kitchen, well, not kitchen area, but the lounge area. And it was just a few of us, but he was just like giving nuggets, and part of you was like, should I be going to sleep now? Should I be listening to this? And so from that aspect of that respect, and everybody and so many organizations that were a part of that weekend, and then into the Saturday, the history and the legacy that was shared with us, it's like anything that he ever starts talking about, Weasel, when it comes to the community, he's like all hands in. So when he say if he just wants to talk about the MC or community, he shared that nugget. We didn't leave the charity ride until he spoke. So I remember just gathering around with some of the motorcycle ministries where the clubs are independents. That's when you get that level of respect, when those that been in there, they could be riding 40 years, some of those guys that were there that weekend, longer than him. But when you have that respect in the community, it makes all the difference in the world. So that's one thing I remember about the 2016 event from his speaking. So
I think that's the first time we met. So it's good to hear that, you know, you can leave an impression on people. Like I said, it's just nice that when some people can really inhale what's being shared, you know, versus, you know, you're saying you're a prospect for life. But the thing is, if you're too busy talking, then you can't learn.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like somebody, a new rider, they've been riding for a week, but they can tell you everything that's went on, like they've been riding for 20 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Sean.
No worries. So we talked about this whole OG piece. Now, obviously, when you were coming up, what were your role models, or who were your role models? What did that look like? Did you have any first?
You know what? Because I was exposed to a different type of set coming up.
Okay.
Kind of, you know, I was exposed to one stuff and I was exposed to 99 stuff. So I got a variation of the lifestyle. Because back in the days, I mean, one's kind of stayed over to the left and 99 was just to the right before this whole migration that we're seeing today. So right. I would say that my true mentors, or people I looked up to, was anybody that was doing what I wasn't doing yet. So it was kind of everybody, because I looked for something in everybody, and I realized that everybody you meet is going to give you nuggets indirectly. You know, so I always said that I want to be a part of everybody, meaning that if I meet you and there's something about you that I admire, that I want to take that element from you. So it was kind of like all these people that I was around were like, I was enticed by so many things, especially when you're young in this game. You know, you don't realize how much you're absorbing. It's just a matter of you can inhale it or if you understand what's happening. So I had so many people I looked up to that it's just I can't even pinpoint one person. But I definitely had an admiration for a lot of brothers that were around me. Now, as time progressed, to be honest, you know, this is a new day. So we fast forward 25, 30 years, and, you know, you look around the book now and the cast that's really out there pounding, you know, it's different type of people that you're going to admire. You're going to admire those that are riders, because some people are out there pounding. Some people are straight up biking, camping, and doing it for what it's really meant to be. But then you have those brothers that are outlaws that are really living that lifestyle that may not pound. So there's so many different elements. So I admire, so without blowing anybody up and putting people on blast, I admire anybody that's serious about what we do. So if you want to sum that up, anybody that can respect and understand what this really is and that truly embraces the lifestyle, that's who I admire. And that can be anybody. And I'm not nobody to even have that opportunity to, that I shouldn't have the privilege to comment on that. But it's just kind of like, I respect people that can respect what they're into and understand what it is for its face value.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. So with that said, with all that knowledge that you have, what would you tell someone who's interested in joining an MC or anything else?
It's, you know, my thing is everybody doesn't need to be in a club. That's the first thing. It's just like, you know, I see a lot of people going right to Harley and walking out the door, the patch is sitting on the front door for them. You know, so the thing is, you know, you got to realize, like, especially when you're new to biking, like, who are you as a biker? You know, like, what are you looking for? And a lot of us don't think about that. We just kind of get a bike and you see some people riding with patches and it's cool. And it's like, you know, I want to do that. And the thing is, you need to understand, just like anything else in life, you need to understand what is it that you are, you know, that you're entertaining, so to speak, you know? And so for me, what I would tell a brother is like, slow down. You know, you don't always have to jump right to the latest and greatest of what you think is hot. You know, it's good to make love to something from the outside, so to speak. You know, I remember mentoring a couple of brothers some years back, and they were very excited to jump to, you know, a patch and they want to do this and do that. I was like, yo, let's just have some fun with it first and let you see what it is. And what happens when you slow down and really start to look at clubs and the set and the brothers in those different patches, you know, you start to see things. You see things. You know what? There's nothing wrong with slow tracking the whole process if you have to do it at all. You know, and understand what biking is about. I mean, be a biker for a while. Get on the road and do what we do as bikers. You know, and everything you hear about today is pound, 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 pound. And there's so much that you can do. And what happens when you feel you get to a point that you've really embraced the mindset of a biker, that's when I think you're ready for a patch versus just running right to the patch. So it takes a lot for a person to really understand that. And you have to really be humble enough to slow your thinking and look at, what am I doing? Like, you just shouldn't join anything without understanding what it is. And I think that's what we're seeing these days, is that it's just, there's a rush for glory, so to speak. You know, and on the flip side of that, when you get in, if you decide to do it and you absolutely have to do it, like I tell people, the first thing you need to do is be humble, because the first 5 years, you're just learning, you're earning your voice. And a lot of people want to talk, you know, as soon as they get to the table or, you know, doing that whole process and not realizing that there's so much to inhale. After 30 plus years, you know, I won't say the term I'm a prospect for life in a sense, but I will say that I'm open to learning at any given time. And I never know when something's gonna be gifted to me in regards to knowledge from another brother, be it a new rider or the gray beard in the corner at the Diamond House.
Okay.
Indeed.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the things that, you know, we talk about when you join a motorcycle club is really about that whole community aspect, right? It's all about family. It's all about community. It's all about, you know, something bigger than yourself and being a part of something bigger than yourself. How do you feel that actually plays into like peer pressure?
You know, it plays a big role. You know, peer pressure and validation, those are two dangerous things when it comes to the set, you know, because, you know, new people and old people, everybody wants to be somebody in what we do, you know, and the thing is, a lot of people are not even realizing it. They're constantly trying to make, show face or just be somebody in this whole circle. And when you realize that if you got a lot of self-centered actions going on, like, you're not going to be able to see things what they are because you're focusing on you versus the people around you. That's true brotherhood. When you start to appreciate the people around you, not see yourself and putting them first, that brotherhood is going to allow you to get away from that peer pressure, so to speak. You know, we talk about peer pressure. Now let's equate that to bikes. I take you back 20 years, people were happy to have that jigsaw. No, ain't nothing, I'm just saying in general. You know, I'm gonna bring this full circle. Is that 20 years ago, people were happy to have a cruiser and to migrate over to a sports bike and migrate over to the cruiser side. If it was a Honda 1100 or a Kawasaki 900 or whatever it was, they were happy. Nowadays, it's less like the peer pressure has people going out buying these bikes, and I'm going to say it is what it is. Everyone wants to ride a Harley, and including me, and I've done it for my own personal reasons because of association, but and other things. But that is all peer pressure. These are cats that got this excellent bikes that'll run for the next 10 years, but the peer pressures allow you to think that I need to have that in order to be accepted. You know, you got cats getting $700 bike notes and everything else, just trying to keep up. And that's, you know, that in itself is a good example of what peer pressure would do. It will have you doing things out of character. It'll have you putting yourself in positions that you can't afford, or even with some of these cats joining some of these diamond clubs, you know, like who are not built for that lifestyle, that they join these diamond clubs, and there you have it. The peer pressure was, oh, elevate yourself, or, you know, you ain't cool unless you're doing this, you know. And what we're seeing peer pressure take place in so many different aspects of the lifestyle, you know. And it's just, you know, it's really sad that people need validation that bad that they can't just enjoy this for what it is and really sit back and just be humble. You know, my thing is, you know, I'd rather be respected than loved. That's the old cliche that we have. And love is being, it's nice, you know, and it's like nice to have your peers come to you, and, you know, people seek that. And that's, once again, validation and peer pressure. Like, give me respect first. And if I got the respect, everything else is going to come to you. So I would say, don't worry about your peers, worry about what you are doing as a biker, and just really enjoy it. People like get so tense these days because protocol this, or you don't have a Harley, or you're not with this club and this and that. Like, let that go, and just focus on enjoying yourself, you know, and hell it for what it is. There's so much that this set has to offer, and, you know, we get caught up trying to impress the next person. We get caught up in those circles, you know, and peer pressure has destroyed brothers in terms of, you know, they home because they're trying to run with everybody else and be the dude that's always there, doing things they normally don't do. You know, it's destroyed clubs. We got peer pressure will have you in a club, and two brothers will be in the corner talking smack, and you feel, and they pull you into that circle, and now you have that peer pressure that's dragging you to that corner, talking about, oh, he's not running the club the right way, and there you have it, peer pressure now dividing clubs. So it's so many aspects of that we really have to think about when we talk about peer pressure. So, you know, it's just bad, but the thing is, you just have to be conscious of it and aware that it's there, and be able to say, you know what, I don't want to fall, you know, into that realm of the set. It's just not something that's going to be conducive to your growth.
No, I agree. So when you're faced with something like that, where peer pressure is so prominent, again, I mean, in the motorcycle community, it is about sometimes what you ride or how you look or something like that. And people can really give into it if they're not sure of who they are as a person, and, you know, beyond the patch or beyond the colors or what have you. So how do you think a person can actually maintain that individual thought process and not actually, you know, cave in into some of those peer pressure aspects?
You know what it is? It's almost hard not to. You know, when you come on a set and you see cats looking a certain way, and you're like, you know what, I aspire to be that person. So you're going to go out, and we all know the person. They got the 18 chains on, 7 rings. You know, like, it's funny how it happens when they obtain certain things or they go to certain clubs, and you see that transition. And what that is, that's peer pressure. And the thing is, if you think about who does not want to be accepted in what we do, you know what I'm saying? Who wants to be the oddball? So I can kind of understand a person wanting to blend in, especially being new, even somebody that's old, that they feel like they're not relevant. And, you know, the thing is, you got to realize, like, you don't have to be relevant. The set and clubs will move on without you, no matter how popular you are. This is what I've learned over the years. There's cycles. You'll have cycles of people that are popular. I can name popular people from 20 years ago in popular clubs that have come and gone, and it's been a roller coaster ride. And you will fall victim every time if you're trying to stay on top of that wave So you just have to accept it for what it is. Like, I don't care what people think about me. I am who I am. You know what I'm saying? The old saying is WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. And if you can just get that, listen, this is who I am, like as I am. It's kind of the mindset that I would say that anybody should have when they come into this. And if a cat can accept you for the way that you dress or, the way that you talk, you don't have to come over here being brand new.
Mm-hmm.
If I knew you 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you joined a bike club and I see you now, and I'm like, yo, what is that person? You see people now that's crossed over to the outlaw side. You're like, he's an outlaw? And what that is, that's a good example of what I'm talking about, is how people have fallen victim to that and doing things they would never do. So it's hard to kind of say to not do it. And I mean, I definitely get it. Everybody wants to be that dude. Everybody wants to have some type of relevance, on the set. We all do. I mean, everybody wants to feel good in what we do. When you get a bike and you pull up, you want people to look at you and your bike and your boots and whatever else it may be. But it's okay to be you. It's okay to be normal. It's okay to blend into the crowd and realize that, if somebody's going to like you, they're going to like you for who you are,
mm-hmm.
as you are. If they can't, then, it is what it is. Like, keep it moving, bro. This ain't for you. If you can't get that tough skin, and everyone's not going to love you. I got some haters and I got some people that love me. But it's just like, if you met me 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I'm the same person. And they'll say that's just Weasel. And my point is that I just been consistent. I haven't tried to change who I am to impress somebody. If I came in dressed in a certain way, that's who I was. So you just got to maintain who you are, not lose your identity in this. Your identity in this, because you definitely, if you're not that same person Monday through Friday that you are come Friday night and Saturday, and you putting on a whole different costume and your whole mindset and your character changes, then it may be time for a self-assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yep. Agreed. When I first started riding, I was out running cross fields, doing stuff the wrong way, still trying to get my legs, so to speak. Oh yeah, I got a couple stories here and there, but I won't get into it. But one thing that I appreciated with the folks that I roll with was really that it was all about, riding and community service, right? And that was our mantra. And over the years, you see things evolve, clubs come and go, people come and go, friendships come and go. But how do you actually feel like a way to kind of get back to some of those basics? I know it seems like you've noticed that there's been quite a trend in a different direction, so to speak. How do you get back to the basic stuff? To the enjoying this lifestyle a little bit more like you used to when you were a kid?
I think that, we never stopped enjoying the lifestyle. I mean, it's just that, I don't embrace some of the changes, and I think a lot of other brothers don't, because we look for that old school flavor of what you're referencing, the whole true fellowship, and we get it now. It's just a different way that it's given. And it goes back to, once again, is that everybody's focusing on self. So you're thinking about me, you don't care about meeting the next person. A good example of that is you go to a function and the clubs are all together. That's not fellowshipping. That's just going to an event, showing love. That's not fellowshipping. So I mean, it's foregone. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think as much as we preach fellowship and we talk about it, I mean, there'll be some spotty points where you'll see a lot of it. Like, I noticed that when I travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you're going, it's different levels of fellowship, but it's just kind of there's a disconnect somewhere. There's a disconnect, and I don't know if it's because we're trying to prove points to each other and impress each other, or what it is. But I don't foresee it going back. We can't look back and compare today to 30 years ago, 20 years ago, because it's not the same set. We have people that's come to the set for the wrong reason, versus bikers who were really bikers. So we have a lot of saturation going on from people that may not be as passionate. So we can never get that old school flavor back, so to speak. But it's just like, I think that as individuals, it's your approach, not your club. As a brother, as a sister, it's your approach towards what we do on a set and how you carry yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to come out and you're going to be mean mugging cats and because you got those rings on, you know what? You're not going to be approachable. you're not gonna be approachable, and people are not going to interact with you, and that's going to play over and over again and again from person to person, and you'll never have that true fellowship in place. If that kind of makes sense to you. I just see it a different way. Us getting what we had at one point, it's we're definitely far from that, and it's going to be a lot of maintenance, and it's just going to have to be from person to person, and you're going to have to want that. You're going to have to want to go out and meet people. You're going to have to desire to have that relationship that we talk about when I'm saying that we're traveling on the road and I can go to North Carolina and I got somewhere to stay. Brothers are going to look out for me, so to speak. You know, like when you come in the state, if you got those true relationships, like I give it to my man Two Guns. You know, we was on a show together years ago. I never met the brother, and we met the way you're supposed to meet. We met when I was on the road, traveling from Jersey to Florida. Never met the brother, and it was like, you know what? Make certain we meet each other. And when I got there, that brother did everything from meeting me on the road to the next time around, have me at his house and put a meal on the plate and everything and a drink in my hand. And that's how it's supposed to be. And not too many people can say that we're still doing that. You know, and the thing is, we preach it and we talk about it, but you know what? A lot of us live a lie. When it comes to this, it sounds good when you got those posts and those memes, you're saying all this stuff, but are you truly living it?
Yeah, you're walking your talk.
Yeah. So it's a lot of this. It's a lot of this going on, and I'm living the lifestyle. But what are you really living? Is it a lie, or is it your version of it in front of the camera, so to speak?
So with our newer folks, I mean, obviously, we get older, we see a lot of things. We see a lot of people come and go. We see a lot of new people come in, and I think obviously we also notice that there's also a shift, right? A shift in mindset, a shift in just generational shift.
Yeah.
You know, how do you actually embrace the change but still keep your core values, you know, but still usher in these new folks and actually teach them? You think that's possible? Kind of keep that core?
It is possible to teach people. I mean, the desire to learn is there. You know, going back in the days, we didn't have to talk about teaching and learning and protocol. This didn't come about until people got platforms. And people got platforms, people wanted to talk a lot because they wanted to be heard. So if I tell you I'm Batman, if I say that 20 times, you're going to believe it after a while. You're going to be like, you know what, this dude, but here's what he say he is. You know, and people started getting these platforms and they started making this protocol important, you know, and the thing is that people do want to learn and the desire is there, but in the change that we're seeing today, I mean, it's like with anything. If we had the same bikes as 20 years ago, you wouldn't appreciate it. So sometimes having a flavor and what we do is nice as long as you keep those core values. But the thing is, too many people, it goes back to that, you know, validation and I want to shine. A lot of time when people want to shine and they got the colors and they got the socks to match, you know, a lot of minds are in the wrong place. So, but what I'm seeing is that some people are actually taking things to heart. They're taking ownership of their clubs. They're taking ownership of the set. They're taking ownership of their own presence on the set as bikers. You know, so we're not to the point that we can't get it back to what we want it to be, or to the typical traditional biker set, but it's work, and it's work, it's personal desires. It's going to be a lot of old heads influencing the young crowd, and you're starting to see a lot of brothers that are taking it serious. If you notice, I think we all know that brother or sister that's just hardcore, so to speak, that you know you can't bring no BS around them, and they're not going to a BS party, or they're not doing this and they're not doing that. And what that is, those are representatives, people who want to preserve, you know, what the realness is. And what happens is that tends to kind of wash off on other people, which is good. And that's how we get preservation, is that brothers see that, you know what, there's some serious cats out here living this. You know what, I'm going to take it just as serious as him. And it's like, it's a slow effect, and it'll never be what it is. And the change, I embrace some of the change, and it's good to see like some of the migration, like this, the SCs are on the set now, and they're kind of, you know, bringing some flavor to it. And I think we all can appreciate not going to a Sources Fest every weekend like it used to be, but it's just a new, it's a new day, a new day. So you just have to be open-minded. But the thing is, when you get too far away to the left with things, then you have to be smart enough, or want to be smart enough, to say, you know what, that's enough, and I'm not dealing with that.
Okay, we're gonna lighten things up a little bit. Tracey, do you have your license yet?
So stay tuned. And that is actually for Weasel Talk tonight.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay. But I do have want to piggyback on what you're just talking about, relationships and the strength of the community, especially with these the times that we're facing in 2020. Because a lot of people are just uncertain about getting out there or riding, but then next thing you see is this rise and unity rise and people wanting to fellowship. And sometimes, no matter what the case is, we want that respect so much that we kind of willing to not act like what we say we're going to do. It's like somebody going to church on Sunday, but the rest of the 6 days of the week, they're a totally different person. When it comes to unity in the community, people want the respect and they want the love, but they can't distinguish between what, they have trouble, I'll say, distinguishing between what one is versus the other. We hear so many times of, well, I don't want to be around that person, or I don't want to be around this person, just because of maybe they don't like, the color of their bike or something. I don't know. But respect is definitely what they say, earned, and not just given. And I've seen that a lot in just being around some of the organizations in this community where they, some of them do live by their walk and their talking, and some just say one thing but do another. So I think we just have to be mindful of who we are when it comes to this community and staying true.
No, very good points. Very good points. So tell me about one of your favorite rides. Where do you like to ride to?
Wow. It's
first easy question. Question.
Yeah, it's easy, but you know what? It's a hard one because there's no such thing as a bad ride. So one of my favorite rides, I like things that are different because different things bring growth. And I would have to say my favorite ride I've been doing for 17 plus years is going to Americade Bike Week. And the reason being, it's a lot of people are just starting to get up on that. And it's really a bikers event because it's not about your club. And I always liked it because it wasn't about what club you were affiliated with. It was a straight bike event. And when you get there, the ride up there coming through, upstate New York heading towards Canada, you're just in a different world. You just know that you're somewhere different. And when you get there, you got the Lake Placid runs, Vermont. And what we would do, we would always run through the ride up to Americade and SWAT a day and do the camp thing. And from there, book up to Montreal for a night. So to me, that ride was always epic because I knew that, we're going to get a flavor of the whole, mountain thing up in Lake George and Vermont and, upstate New York, and then cross over to Canada. So that was always a favorite because, it was just different. It was away from the set. And it was just kind of you never know who you would see. So what I like seeing was every so often I started seeing brothers. Coming up there one at a time. And it was just nice to say, you know what? These are brothers that are finally starting to see it for what it really is, which is a diversity in what we're doing. So I have to say Americade, right onto Americade every time.
Awesome. I've never been there, but now you got me curious. So I may have to kind of check it out one of these days.
Must do for every biker, and leave your colors at home if you go. It's not about your colors.
Fine. So what's your legacy? After all is said and done, how do you want people to remember you?
I may not be remembered at all, but I think that based upon my presence, I've tried to be very active in the community and, sitting down with clubs and helping people out and dealing with different brothers coming in and mentoring people. I've never really thought about that because it's not important. I'm not on no mission. And that's the bigger point, is that I don't care about a legacy. It's just kind of I think about things that I do as they happen, so to speak. I care about every brother that I meet one by one, each club that I get the chance to embrace. So it's just my focus has never been to, get yourself up to a certain point that people are going to remember you and never forget you and have that memorial run for you. To me, it's not important. But if I was to be remembered, I think that it would be for seriousness in what we do. This is a brother that didn't mind pounding a little bit, getting out there, doing what we do, across the state lines and, You know, I never looked at people for what that patch that they had on their front or back. You know, so I think that people would think, you know, I think there would be a high regard in terms to respect. You know, and it's just you know, you just never know how people see you. You know, we see ourselves in one light, and then the next person can think that you're a jerk or what. You know, the next person can love you. So it's kind of like it's hard to tell how people will think about you after the fact. As soon as you turn your back, you know, if you want to talk about it in that regard, it's just hard to gauge where you stand at in what we do.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I don't know if I have a legacy, if I will, but if I did, I would go down as a teacher, I guess.
I think that sounds about right. From all that I've heard so far, I think that kind of is right up your alley. So, Tracey, did you have anything that you wanted to ask? I hope I haven't neglected you too much.
Oh, I haven't been neglected. I'm just beginning. I like taking breaks when speaking. No, that's why I wanted to encourage. I wanted to encourage even individuals like, you know, you guys, or individuals such as yourself, where you think you can't do something, you can. And look at tonight, you did a fabulous job of hosting, what have you, or taking the lead host. And when you can do that, and when you can encourage and delegate someone else, that's that respect that you can earn in the community, because you're not trying to take all the credit yourself. That's one thing that we got to get off of, wanting to be in a spotlight so bad that we'll stomp on somebody else just to get there. That's the respect that you get, and it's earned. So I'm glad to feel like, because you got to give yourself a pat on the back sometimes. So after all the years, that's one thing I would like to go down saying that I earn is the respect, because I respect others to let their light shine rather than wanting my own to shine so much. So thank you, Weasel, for even letting us know that even at the events, even at the banquet, that's the respect that you earned from me. So thank you so much, Sean. Hats off for hosting this call tonight, and just continue to let both of your lights shine, and so that people can see your good works. That's what it's all about, and that's how you continue to get blessed.
Absolutely.
More of others and less of you.
Yeah, if I could just add one thing to that, is that, you know, you don't have to be somebody to be somebody. If that makes sense. You know?
Exactly.
Absolutely does. And again, I mean, everyone's going around with their thank you, so I want to make sure that I get mine in too. So thank you, OG Weasel, for joining us tonight, and giving your knowledge and giving you a little bit about what's going on and where you've been and your insight. I think, you know, you may underplay it a little bit, but I think that's valuable to everyone that's coming into the motorcycle scene, you know, whether they join an MC or not, or they just ride independent. You know, some things are just basic. You know, some things you never want to forget, like that whole spirit of riding and the whole spirit of community, a whole spirit of charity, if that's what you feel like. So thank you for that reminder, and making sure that, you know, that's not something that you just forget too often and take for granted. You know, and there are a lot of people out there that are willing to open their homes and open their space and open their lives for each other, especially, you know, someone broken down on the street or, you know, on the side of the road. You know, we're here. And Tracey is a shining example of that, you know, with B.U.D S organization, and how they're able to kind of go out and help with folks that they don't know. You know, people apply for things. They say, hey, I need this and I need that. And she's there. You know, everyone's just there in hospital rooms to try to help out as much as possible, whether it's providing financial support or emotional support or anything else it is. And I think that's what kind of keeps me here, for sure. You know, regardless of what happens day to day. First of all, I love riding, so I don't think I'll be giving that up anytime soon. But I can certainly appreciate those times when we are able to just come together, you know, just bond, just break bread, ride, and go back and do it again. So
absolutely,
a safe ride.
If I can just double back real quick, you asked me a question about somebody that I admired, you know, in the set, and I just want to really, and I hate to like call people out. First of all, to my brothers out there, just in case you don't know, but you know, I just really want to acknowledge one person. This is my man, T-Tom from the Speed Shifters down in Philly. You know, they've been around for 20 years, but my man, T-Tom, you know, this is a brother that definitely one of the brothers when we talk about humble and doing what bikers do and really living the lifestyle and respect for the patch. You know, this is someone that over the years we have spoken, we have traveled some together, and we've had a lot of conversations. You know, we both know when that phone rings, set aside 1 hour, because we're going to talk a minimum of an hour and it's going to be backed up. But my point is that because that admiration for the lifestyle. So, and he's just a good example of somebody who's lived it, has been humble, been across country several times. I think he just got back with Curves, Alabama. It's Bessie Stringer, that whole clique over there. And it just, it's good to have brothers like that you can say that about somebody, that they are just doing what we do. They don't need to be in the spotlight. They share enough to keep others motivated, but it's done in a way that it's not showcasing. He's not just showboater. And we need more of that in the brothers that's out there, And I never told a brother that. Actually, the other day I called a brother, and I had the intent, and I wanted to tell him that I appreciate him, but we never got to that point, So you just brought it to light, and I'm like, you know what? That's one of the few brothers, and there's a couple that I have, but this is one that we go back. We've had a lot of heavy interaction over the years, so it's just good that I think we all should have someone that we feel that way about, that we can sit back and say, you know what? I admire you. But the bigger person will tell that person over the years.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, good. Thank you for shouting him out. I'm sure he's going to appreciate that when he hears it, and we'll go from there. But Tracey, thank you for all that you do for Buds. Again, if you want to tell us a little bit about what we're leading up to this whole virtual event, I think we got maybe a couple minutes left.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the good thing about tonight is that people can get a glimpse of OG Weasel, but definitely looking forward to the panel that's coming up in the next couple of speakers. Sunday, we're going to hear from Jen Brew. So definitely looking forward to that, those nuggets, and following up with next week's individual list that's going to be announced. So we're just going to start putting it out there tonight, and the dates of who's speaking, leading up to the panelists. Coming together is a process on Thursday, September the 10th. It's going to go down from 7 to 8, and the panelists are going to feature some of the very nuggets that you heard tonight from Weasel. Definitely got Guns. We got Foxy that's going to be on the line. We got White Chocolate. So we're excited, hosted by Scooter Mitchell. And Scooter is other than SV and the host with the most. So he knows how to bring everybody together and chime everybody out at the same time. So I'm excited for that. That's going to be great. So we're just going to keep pushing along, continue to talk to our brothers and sisters, especially with everything that's going on now. Everybody's not comfortable. That's okay. We got it. Take care of yourself. Take care of your families when it comes to getting out there in the public. So if you're not that comfortable, you definitely need to get comfortable that night, Thursday, September the 10th. And I'm sure we're going to hear a lot from these different individuals from now until September the 10th, coming together, the process from the panelist point of view. We got some wide open questions for you there on that night, my brother. So just stay tuned. It's going to be great.
Bring it. Bring it.
Do the will.
Yeah.
Thanks, SB. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot, both of you. I appreciate you being patient with us. Thank you for your time and all that you're doing and your presence. All I can say at this point is just ride safe. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.